pilot broadcast, and we have our special guest tonight, Kat Ward. Kat, hi, how are you? And thank you so much for coming on the show this evening.
I'm so honored that you asked me to help you with your debut show. This is awesome.
Pleasure. Did you know that you got a ghost in your house? I just saw the door behind you open on its own.
Yeah, one of my cats just came in, but yeah, I do have a ghost here. I had to leave one door open a little bit because I kept scratching at it.
Yeah, understandably. So, okay, you had a terrific idea, Kat, when I had asked you about coming on the show, and you wanted to discuss like how we got into paranormal investigating.
Sorry, my fur babies. Yeah. That's. You want to start? Since you
I
are
can, or you. It's up to you. You're the guest, so I mean, we should let the guest go first.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought maybe I first started with my paranormal investigative team in Ontario. I'll get more on that after. But
Okay.
when I really thought about it this week, when I was a teenager in high school, that was really my first investigation. I'll tell you why. I'm from the East Coast in Canada, in a province called New Brunswick, and we had a local ghost story, Rebecca's Grave, in Moncton, New Brunswick, out on the Old Gorge Road. And it's the type of place where all the teenagers will pile into cars and go check it out, let's see if we can find some ghosts. So I've been there several times as a teenager. So we go up, and the first Rebecca's Grave. She lived in the late, I think, 1800s, and supposedly she was a witch. Her and her mother.
Really?
She got hit by a car, died, came back, and for whatever reason, I don't know how it happened, but she died again. And when they buried her, they put concrete over her grave to make sure she couldn't come back. Well, all the teenagers, we pile in a couple of cars, we go check it out. And sure enough, there is a grave with concrete on top. And we're all like, oh, it's got to be real. Well, I didn't know about the year at the time. I just knew that Rebecca's grave was supposedly under this concrete. Well, then I decided to go to the library and do some research. Found out her name was Rebecca Ann Lutz, lived in the late 1800s. And then I start to think, okay, the stories can't be true. It's the 1800s. There were no cars yet, I believe, in the Moncton area at the time. So maybe it was a horse and buggy, I don't know. But somehow she passed on. And, if you think about it, what did I do? I went to investigate, and then I went to do research at the library. So, technically that's really my first gig.
Well, that's great. Because, an awful lot of people wouldn't even think to go to the library to try to find any information.
Back in the days when we had microfiche, too, at the library. Yeah. So now Rebecca's Grave is a really big legend in Moncton. Apparently, there is now a musical group. I think they're a death metal band called Rebecca's Grave.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Somebody recently released a movie in Moncton. It's kind of like the Blair Witch Project, kind of that.
Oh, yes.
Based a little bit on Rebecca's Grave, but obviously he embellished as well. I haven't seen it yet because they had only shown it live at the local Capitol Theatre in Moncton.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm not back home in the Maritimes anymore, I'm in Alberta, I wasn't able to attend.
Aww.
Some people loved it, some people hated it. But yeah, that was technically my very first time investigating. But then, many years later, moved to Ontario in the Ottawa Valley. And a friend of mine messaged me and said, hey, there's a woman on Facebook looking for people to start up a team. Here's her name. So I thought, okay, I'll message her. So her name was Katie Turner. And she has a group called CSRS, Canadian Supernatural Research Society, looking for people to start doing investigations, So dropped her a line. She was having a meet and greet at the local coffee shop. And I told my husband, I said, well, I'm going to go check it out. And if there are a bunch of wingnuts, I'll say, thank you very much for the coffee, But if if they seem okay, maybe I'll join the team. Well, yeah, they were wingnuts, but I still joined them.
Well, hey.
And then I had a friend from the Moncton area. His name's Kevin Sapiat. He's a cosplayer. Now, if you don't know what a cosplayer is, they dress up as their favorite cartoon character, books. Anyways, and they go to conventions. So he is the Wolverine. When he dresses up as Wolverine, he's awesome. One of the conventions he was at, he met this guy named Jonathan Mallard, who is part of LADS, Life After Death Society, and he has a podcast named Odd to Newfoundland. So he interviewed my buddy Kevin, and at the end of the interview, Kevin says, "Hey, you've got to contact my friend Kat, because she's a paranormal investigator." So Johnny contacted me, did my very first interview last May. It was a Mother's Day show. He has a monthly podcast. I was terrified. I've never done anything like that before. And he's like, "You go into dark buildings looking for ghosts." It's like, "Yeah, but talking to people terrifies me. I'd rather look for ghosts." But it was actually pretty good. And then I've met, and just from that, I've met so many great people in the paranormal community, such as yourself, and Jim Ballard and Seth Kinsey of the Quickening, and just so many people. It's just amazing how much it just snowballs.
Yeah, it is amazing. Like I know, like I've met Marie Mercer, and certainly through the paranormal, I've also met Andrew Hind and Maria Da Silva. They're a great couple too. Kinsey, yes. Dino Ewelt, I believe his last name is called.
I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Pronounced Ewelt, I think. And yeah, I've met an awful lot of nice people, and of course yourself included. Although we've never met in person.
I know.
Same room. It's more or less like we're in person now. So that's great. Yeah. So okay. So I'm sorry. I was just answering a text here. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Well, the way mine started, as you probably are well aware, that I grew up in a haunted house. And of course, at that time, oh gosh, that would have been, we moved up to Muskoka in 1958. So I was only 10 years old then. And strange things certainly did happen at that house, like things disappearing. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Things disappearing, and they might reappear later on in a place where you knew darn right well you'd never put it. But, sometimes they would never appear back again at all. We had strange sounds. Oh, you feel like, tap on the shoulder kind of a thing, and you'd turn around, there's nobody there, that kind of a thing. So one night I was watching TV, and all of a sudden I turned to pet the cat or whatever I was doing anyway, but I turned just momentarily. Whammo, the volume went right up to full volume.
No way.
Daylights out of me. And of course, in those days, we didn't have the luxury we have nowadays with the old clicker, to turn down the volume and change your channels. All that fun stuff. Yeah, so I actually had to get up off my duff and go over to the television and turn the volume knob down. Well, on my way back, wouldn't you know it, the volume came up again. And I sat down, or I went and I turned it down again and rushed back to the Chesterfield and sat down. And believe it or not, Kat, as I was sitting there watching the darn TV, I kept my eyes riveted on that knob, for the volume. And I saw the darn thing actually turning. And it went right up again to full volume.
Yep.
Stupidest thing.
How old were you then?
Well, at that time, oh gosh, we moved up when I was 10. I would have been maybe about 13, 14 years of age then when that happened. Yeah. And then, of course, you knew about the blouse. If you heard my interview with Seth Kinsey and the top.
And Dino.
Yeah. And that was really something. There were strange things that happened. We had a malevolent spirit there, and we also had a benevolent one. And I really think that the benevolent one really did protect us from the bad one. So thank God for that. But we were in the era that you had to keep quiet about things like that.
Children should be seen and not heard.
Sorry?
Children should be seen and not heard.
Well, no, it wasn't that. It's just people were not that accepting of the paranormal. we are today. And if you were
Yeah.
heard talking about it, people would say, "Oh, this one's certifiable. You know, get this one out to Penetang or wherever."
Yeah.
But, so anyway, excuse me just 1 second. I'm just answering one. Dear, there we go. Okay.
Are you in the chat room?
No, I was just answering just one. I'm not in the chat room right now. Our producer was contacting me.
Ah.
So I just wanted to make
Our
sure I
brilliant
answered
Hugo.
that. Pardon?
Our brilliant Hugo.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we had an awful lot of strange things happen. Well, then as it turned out, it was kind of strange because we had in grade 7, we had a classroom assignment that we had to do the history on our properties. And
Oh, really?
we had to go to the library, we had to go to the land registry office and all this different kind of stuff. And
That was through school?
yes, it was for a school project.
They're teaching you how to do paranormal research.
Well, it literally led to that, yes. Because anyway, in the process of getting all this information, I found out that the property that our house was built on had originally been Indian burial ground.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
hence the activity.
yes, and there was a lot of it.
I had a house when I was living with my parents many years ago in Dieppe, New Brunswick, and I used to always feel somebody was there. It wasn't anything bad. It was just somebody was there. And I had 2 cats, and I would have one cat that would curl up in the hall, sound asleep, and all of a sudden she'd wake up, the hair's on the, all up, and she's hissing and spitting and looking at something, and we're all like, okay, bad dream. And then started realizing, well, maybe something's here. So come to find out, we did renovations in the house because it was a really old house.
Uh-huh.
And come to find out, I have to admit that as a teen, we did do the Ouija board. Some people are against that. Some of them are all for it. Anyways, the Ouija board kept saying, "I sorry, I sorry." And we're like, "You're sorry?" Come to find out that it was this girl that died in the house that I was in because she was playing with matches and started a fire. I don't know where the mother was. It was just the father and the little girl.
Uh-huh.
Well, when we started the renovations later on, we wanted to lower the roof, right? Because we had the attic and everything. So when we were taking the gyprock up upstairs, realized, holy Hannah, behind the gyprock, you can tell there had been a house fire. And we thought, wow, that was kind of like, I didn't know that,
Right. So they more or less just built over and around it again to kind of hide that fact?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I always was tempted to find out who lived in the house 60 years prior or however long it was, I don't remember, and tell the guy that, your daughter wanted to say she's sorry. But back then, even now, how do you approach somebody like that to say, yeah, I know that you had a house fire, you lost your daughter, and she's sorry. How do you approach somebody like that?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't really do that.
Especially nowadays when you try to talk to someone who's a total stranger. They can be friendly sometimes, or they can just be very leery.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in today's day and age, I guess you can't really blame a lot of people for being on the leery side because you just never know.
Well, somebody approached me and told me that, I'd say, okay, you're a whack job, get away from me.
Before we go any further, Kat, I should mention to anyone who's watching, I hope we've got an audience in there tonight.
I hope so.
If you look on the bottom right of the screen, you'll see a blue little bar that says send us a message. Hit that, and it will take you right to the Facebook page, which is specially made for this program. Okay? And then leave a message. We can get back to you that way. Or if you have any questions you want to ask, that kind of a thing, please do that. I'm sorry, Kat. Please carry on.
Okay, let us know you're listening. It's not just you and Hugo in the background.
Yeah.
So how long have you been investigating? I've only been doing it for a couple of years, but it's something that's always interested me ever since I'm just, knee-high to a grasshopper. My friends have always called me odd, weird, creepy, It's
Yeah,
only been
well,
a
I've
couple.
always been interested in it, but see, while I was working, I really couldn't get away to do much because I worked mainly midnights,
Yeah.
and or should sleep in the daytime, and then you'd be working at night. So I really didn't have much chance to really start it until a few years ago. And now that I'm retired, I can like devote myself full time to it, and that's great. That's what I love.
Yeah. It is a labor of love, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I get a real satisfaction out of helping somebody else that's gone through the same thing that I've gone through. I know as a child, it really terrified me. But then as I got to be a little bit older, it intrigued me more than anything. And for that reason, I thought, well, okay, other people are probably scared of it too. So let's give them a helping hand, see what we can do to alleviate that.
Let me ask you this. See if the same thing happens to you. You don't talk about ghosts. You don't tell people what you do, and all of a sudden people come up to you and say, "Yeah, I grew up in a haunted house." And just like, "Okay, tell me your story. Why do you think it was haunted?" It's just so strange how people will just come up to you and start talking about their experiences, not knowing what you do. Do you
Yeah,
do you find you get that too?
I do, but I often have people come up to me and start telling me about their health problems, this, that, and so and so. But I think it could be because I'm an empath.
Yep.
People seem to pick up on that.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Same here. Yeah. I get people coming up to me at Walmart or whatever, and they start telling me their life story.
Any place. Yeah.
Yeah. And my son asked me one day, he says, "Mom, why do you listen to these people?" And I said, "For 15, 20 minutes of my time, I'll probably never see them again. If they really need to feel the need to speak to somebody about whatever's bothering them, I had this one gentleman tell me all his life story, and all of a sudden he looks at me and he goes, "I don't know why I told you that. I don't know you. I don't tell people about my thing, about, my life." And I said, "It's okay. It happens to me all the time."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, thanks for listening. Have a good day." And he leaves, totally confused why he just told me all that. But
Yeah. Well, I think it's because of the empathic ability, and they pick up on that.
yeah,
It's not really something that you can hide so much as you can fight against. Like I know for years and years I fought against it because all my life growing up I had the feeling that I was a bit different. And then I finally thought to myself, well, gee, there's got to be something wrong with me then because everybody else seems to be, they have a lot of friends. I had a very small circle of friends. I still do, a small circle of friends that way. But I have few friends, but true friends. Let's put it that way.
yeah,
But I don't know. I always felt different in some way, and I kept trying to fight it and fight it. And of course, in the church, they kept saying, well, anyone who belongs to the Lord shouldn't have anything to do with the paranormal. Well, now, thankfully, even churches are getting to be more accepting of the paranormal and the fact that ghostly activity does exist and that we can help people. So that's terrific.
yeah. I grew up French Catholic in the Maritimes, and yeah, it's so different now.
Yeah, like I'm not Catholic. I was born and raised Presbyterian, and
Hmm.
from there I went to Baptist, and I've been Baptist ever since. But yeah, it's a lot of people, no matter what religion they are, it seems that some churches are accepting of it, others
Yeah.
are not quite so accepting. But anyway, we were going to talk about some equipment as well, were we not?
Yes, we were.
Alrighty. Do you want to show us some of yours, or do you want me to? How would you like to do that?
I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Well, I'd like to start off with
Just
what I like
clean.
well, yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh dear.
I like to keep crystals with me. This is selenite. I don't know if you're familiar with selenite.
Hmm.
It's good for against negative energies.
Yeah.
And I have hematite. I don't know if you can see the hematite. It's a dark stone. That's
Yes.
for grounding.
For what?
And
Sorry.
for grounding.
Oh,
Just
for
to
grounding.
ground.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mainly like the selenite. I find that really comes in handy because you never ever have to purify it either or recharge it. It's great. I find during investigations, if I sense something negative, I've had investigations. I usually keep one in my pocket whenever I investigate. Well, there
Right.
was one night. It was so intense. I went and I put three. I only carry three with me. Three is just a number that feels right for me.
Okay.
I got all three and I stuffed them in my pocket, and it kept whatever it was at bay. I had to use a lot of concentration, but it seemed to have worked. So that's one thing that I like to use. This one's not my favorite. It's I don't even know how to pronounce it. Gauss meter?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It measures things in milligauss?
Yeah. I don't like it simply because we're normally investigating in the dark. This is not lit. It doesn't have a background light on it on the display. It's great for a little bit of light, but
Right.
there's no light on it, so I can't read it. So just for that, I don't like it. I do have the good old K2 meter. It also beeps. It doesn't just show you lights. It beeps as well. Had an investigation once. It actually played a song.
Oh, really?
We have it on audio. It doesn't play songs. It just beeps. So everybody was just like,
So what
totally
song did it play?
Amazing Grace.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I really like this puppy. It only worked once for me. It's a motion sensor. Had an investigation once, kept going off. And of course I have the little to deactivate it or to arm it.
Right.
I've been called Igor because of these. They're I put them over my glasses. It's yellow lensed glasses. It does help me see, because we don't investigate in the total dark. There's always a little bit of light. But
Right.
believe it or not, this stuff, they do advertise them as paranormal glasses. They really do help me see a little better in the dark.
Paranormal glasses. Now, see,
and
to us, those are night driving glasses. They cut down the
Yeah.
glare and stuff.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
the same darn thing, and they're just selling them as paranormal, you know,
Yeah.
to make
yeah.
them.
Just to up the price. I recently got this piece of kit, which I absolutely love, and I haven't had a chance to use it yet. My dad, who is an electronics wizard, sent this to me because he doesn't use it anymore. It's to find wires behind walls.
Oh, okay.
How many times have I used my EMF detector and wonder, okay, what's behind this wall? What's under this floor? I don't know what's behind there. This puppy will tell me if there's wires back there or not. So
Good.
if there's no wires and my EMF is going off, something's got to be up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't had a chance to use it yet. Since I left the team in Ontario, Canadian Supernatural Research Society, they had all the cool toys. So I have to start from scratch pretty much. So this is all I have. Now, and of course, the voice recorder. But yeah, it's just I have to restock my kit. And when I was with them and then moved out to Alberta, Paranormal Heart was only supposed to be a Facebook page where people with the love of the paranormal could come together, tell us their stories. You don't have to worry about being ridiculed or anything. Tell us your stories, share stuff,
No, exactly not.
But then I realized, well, I might start investigating again because there are some places around here that are really supposedly haunted. So as soon as I get some more kit, I'm going to be investigating again. You don't realize how much it gets into your blood. You miss it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
do.
Once you're bitten by the bug, it's just like acting, eh?
Yeah.
Once you're bitten by the bug, you want to keep at it.
So my next piece of kit that I want to get is I want to get a full spectrum camera, video camera, and I never used to like the spirit box, but my friend Johnny Mallard, he is an EVP specialist, I'm going to call him.
Okay.
He doesn't use anything except for EVPs. He's got a really good ear for it. And I don't like the spirit box just because it's so loud. But
it can be irritating, can't it? Unless you can enclose it in a box or something like that will deaden the noise. But then sometimes it deadens your responses too. So you kind of have to put up with it a bit. But
well, he came up with a way to quiet it, and I can't remember. Oh, is it a Faraday cage?
Yes.
I remember what it's called. Yeah. So he was able to, he built it himself, and it keeps down that that annoying.
Yeah, that can be annoying.
Because do you know what the Ovilus is?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to get one of those.
Oh, Canadian Supernatural Research Society had one, and I absolutely loved it because it was quiet.
Yeah.
It didn't have that, that noisy white noise that gave me headaches.
Yeah, just comes out with a word or a phrase or whatever, then that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yep. What's your favorite?
Sorry?
Your favorite piece of kit?
Well, okay, you were talking about the obelisk a minute ago. Okay, let's face it, I didn't have the money to get it at the time. Half the time I still don't. But anyway, the one that I did, yeah, the one that I did get was this crazy contraption. I don't know if you can see it too well, but it's called the Talker 2.
I don't think I'm familiar with that.
And this thing runs on 4 channels. But anyway, I don't know. I don't find it does a heck of a lot.
No?
It just more or less sits there, and these lights up top here, they alternate when it's on. I don't know if you can
So it's a
see.
paperweight with lights?
Sorry?
A paperweight with lights?
Yeah, it runs on 4 modes. It's on mode 1 right now. And then if you put it on the next mode, it'll say what mode it's on there as well. It needs new batteries. See, I don't bother with this thing very much because I don't find it's really any good. It may fool me someday, I don't know. But
similar to the spirit box? What does it do?
Sorry?
Is it similar to the spirit box? What does it do?
It's what's supposed to be similar to the obelisk, but I don't really find it's any comparison because the obelisk will all of a sudden speak kind of a thing, words or phrases.
Yep.
And excuse me, I'm just answering a text, and I will be right there. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, it will speak. Like, if you come near a certain object or whatever, or is this thing, I don't know, you could have that on until the cows come home. I've never found it's done any good.
So you input words in it like you input words in it just like the obelisk?
Oh yes, it's got a pre-programmed dictionary of words in it.
How many words?
Does, but anyway, I don't know. It's just not near as not near as good as what the obelisk appears to be. Now, I've never had the obelisk, but I've seen it in operation, and I would more or less trust it more than I would that piece of equipment. So what other equipment have you got there that you want to?
That's all that I have right now.
Okay, I guess I should go over the Mel meter. Turn on the lights. Don't know if you can see. Any hour now, we'll get the power on here. It's got a new batteries, so I know that's working. But it has the lighted background.
Yep.
And it will detect temperature. And believe it or not, in some investigations, yes, it has been 66.6.
Oh,
We already know about that number.
that's kind of creepy.
Yes, it is. Very creepy.
Yeah.
And Marie and I, incidentally, when we were at Dyer's Memorial in Huntsville, well, by golly, she was handling this baby, and we'd get in the sunlight, bright sunlight, temperature goes way down markedly. We get into the shade, goes way up. Complete opposite to what it should be doing,
Yeah.
And that's weird. If a spirit, the way these things work is if a spirit comes close to it, the lights will light up. And the closer they are, of course, it'll go to the red. And it'll also make a beeping sound, too. But anyway, that's the way it works. And I don't know, do you know the history of this unit?
I do.
You
Named
do.
after
Okay.
Mel.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for those who may not know it, I might as well just go ahead and tell them about it. It's the Mel meter was named after Melissa Galka. Her father, Gary Galka, made this for her after Melissa passed away in a car accident. And that's why he calls this the Mel-8704R. 87 for the year she was born, 04 for the year that she passed, and R for remembering. Which is a very nice... I'm sorry?
That part I didn't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a very nice tribute for sure. So, that's about all I've got on that one. Now, as I say, I do have the spirit box. The little noise maker. Yeah.
Headache maker.
Yes, that's about the size of it too. So I'm just, if anyone who hasn't heard it, I'll just let them hear it. I guess all I have to do is turn it on first, right?
That would help.
Yeah, I didn't hit the right button. There it is. It is noisy, but it will bring some things in for sure.
Yeah, it is a really good piece of kit, I find, because you can pick up a lot if you have the ear for it.
Yeah, I found that too. And of course, the good old voice recorder.
Yep.
This is just, I mean, I got it at the source, and it's for about $40. So, I mean, heck, you can't lose on that. And it works really well. The other thing, I don't know if you're interested or not, but this is the infrared camera.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the microphone gain back here. But it's actually what these are. It's a set of two. And actually what they are perimeter cameras, like for surveillance.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they have the infrared built in down here. So if you're using them at night, they will still pick up. And these things really pick up on orbs and everything. It's just amazing. This is the little monitor that it uses.
Mm-hmm.
It's a geeky little thing. It's quite a.
So where did you pick that up? Was that at a
this I bought at Walmart. Yeah,
Walmart.
I bought it at Walmart. Mm-hmm. This is the other one.
Classified as ghost hunting equipment, it would be a lot cheaper.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know if it would be cheaper because ghost hunting seems to be the rage nowadays for a lot of people. You know, like the CBs used to be years ago, but I don't know. Anyhow, this little contraption. This is what they call the spirit light. Yep. And it's infrared. I don't know if you can see that or not in the camera. You can? Okay. Yeah, but it shows up quite well. Anywho, what else have we got here? Oh yeah, this is the movie camera that I was mentioning to you. It's night vision. And it's got a little, I don't know if you can see that or not. Can you?
Yep.
Alrighty. And it opens turns on automatically when it's opened. And then you could just take your videos, whatever.
And that's night vision?
Yes, it does. So other than that, I don't use a heck of a lot of equipment, like, you know, just more or less.
You don't really need a whole lot, I find.
You don't what? Sorry?
You really need a whole lot of equipment. It's nice to have.
I don't think so.
It's nice to have, of course, but yeah. Depends how big your team is, too.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Paranormal Heart would be myself, of course, and potentially one other. I'm kind of leery to put out the word that I'm looking for members to join, because it's so hard to find people that are going to be, loyal and say, yes, I'm going to be there on investigations. Because a lot of people, they just don't want to put the time behind it.
Yeah, to some people, I think it's a fad,
Exactly, yeah. And I'm very, very curious. Curiosity killed the cat, I do believe, but I'm also a huge, huge skeptic. Just because it goes bump in the night doesn't mean it's ghosts.
No,
I'm also doing research on infrasound. You're nasty cold.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Doing a little bit of research on infrasound, which is low frequency sound. We don't hear it, but we definitely feel it. It's usually below 20 hertz, and the human eye and ear, we function at about 20 hertz. So if there's infrasound around, we don't hear it, but we're going to feel it. You might be able to see something from the corner of your eye, get a feeling of somebody's watching you, get nasty headaches, things like that. Fans can give off infrasound. It actually happens in nature too. Elephants communicate with infrasound. Thunder before a storm will emit infrasound, as well as I had a friend who mentioned that she had very, very nasty migraines, and all the doctors kept saying she's crazy. There's no reason why she should be having migraines. And then she said something, she lives in the States, and she said something about wind turbines. There's a whole bunch in her town, and I said, that, my friend, is infrasound that you're picking up on.
Oh, yeah.
Some people are very, very sensitive to it, and will actually, give them the sensation of, there might be something in your house.
Yeah, it's amazing when you stand close to those things, those wind turbines, how much noise they actually do make. And when you get a whole field of them, they make quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, well, certainly I'd like to plug your group too, Yes, Paranormal Heart. And as you say, you'd like to get some members there who will stay and who will, more or less be there, be available. Say if someone needs a hand analyzing something, that kind of a thing. Or yeah, I know we do the same thing. We hope for the same thing, I should say, at Freelance Paranormal. And I know it can get frustrating when you get members come and then they just disappear within a day or two. Well, well, where they go, someone else is always going to come along. So it gradually builds up.
A lot of people think it's going to be just like on TV, that there's always going to be activity. Well, that's not the case. Sometimes you go to an investigation and nothing happens.
Oh, absolutely. Like these TV shows, where they hold the flashlight or they put it on the floor. And can you turn that on for me? Bang, on it goes instantly, And as you say, you can go to a ghost investigation and have absolutely nothing happen.
Yeah.
But on the TV shows, they've got ratings they've got to keep up. So if the ratings go down, the show goes down.
I enjoy watching them because it is entertaining. But ever since I've been doing the investigating, I can't watch them as easily as I could before. It's almost painful for me to watch now because I'm like, that's not how it is,
Yeah.
Or, see that? No, the camera was on you. I saw nothing.
Yeah, and especially that one, my favorite with the, go ahead, can you hit me over the head with that block?
Here, let me.
Yeah. One of these days, I'm afraid he's going to be in for a real surprise because one of these days, one of those spirits is going to give him what he asked for.
Yeah. Well, I know for sure there's one person listening. Hi, Jim. Quack. Jim Mallard. He just said he's listening.
Jim?
So we have one person for sure.
Is that all that's showing up there is just one listener? Oh, good grief.
He's not showing in the chat room. It's through Facebook. He just messaged me because I asked. I said, "Are you watching?" He says, "Yes."
Yeah. Well, that's good. However, as you say, there are some people who are working and maybe they just couldn't listen tonight, or it could be too late for some. Hard to say. But
and to everyone else who might be watching that we're not aware of, hello, all you beautiful parapeeps. Thank you for watching.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They might not be messaging us. They might just be watching.
That could be. They might leave their messages until later. It's hard to say. Quite often you get a lot of messages after the show's done.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to mention too was Andrew Hind and Maria De Silva. They're going to have a special tour of the ghost town, Lewisham, and that's up here in Muskoka.
Okay, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's quite the place. I've been there, and it's really quite interesting. So of course I can't say too much about it because I don't want to ruin it for them, as far as what they're going to discuss or anything. But they're going to show the remnants of the ghost town and have some ghost stories, that kind of a thing.
Nice.
Which should be interesting. I've been to one of their ghost tours before, and it was really quite interesting. So I'm planning on going again.
Can you tell us some of the stories? What brings them to that town in particular? Like, what are the stories that brings them there?
Well, as I say, I don't want to give too much information away because I don't want to detract from people that might be going to that tour with Andrew and Marie.
Understand.
So I can't say too much that way, but definitely it's worth going because, excuse me for wiping my nose, but it's worth going to because they do present a very good program and they're interesting to listen to. Very interesting to listen to. So yeah, I think you'd enjoy it. Well, no, you wouldn't be able to come, I know, because you're in Alberta, but however. Yeah, and Andrew was kind enough to send an old picture of the schoolhouse there. with
Oh,
the
really?
teacher and the classroom all standing around outside. If that picture could talk, oh,
Hmm.
that was really something. So
Is
yeah,
is
and
that
Maria, I'm
is
sorry.
that picture on your website or on your Facebook page?
It's on the Facebook page. Yes,
Okay,
he
have to
posted
check it
that
out.
some time ago. Just check on pictures and you'd see it.
Okay.
And Marie Mercer and I, we also plan on doing the tour in Dyer's Memorial again this summer
Hmm.
and see if we can
How
get
many
more EVPs.
how many
Sorry,
times have you
how many times?
been there?
Oh, I've been there a couple of times. I think that was Marie Mercer's first. I'm not 100% sure of that, but it was the first time that the two of us actually went there to see what we could get on the paranormal side.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it was interesting. We both really enjoyed it. So, we're planning on doing that again this year.
Good.
Just see what we can come up with because we got an awful lot of EVPs when we were there before.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. In my opinion, you have to go to a location more than once to really get a good solid. Like the first time, it's almost like a base because just because you're asking for someone to answer your questions doesn't mean they're going to answer.
oh,
You know,
exactly.
if you can go more than once.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's the same principle, I think, too, with people that say you have to investigate in the dark. Well, you don't, because
No.
ghosts are going to behave as they behave, whether it's broad daylight or it's the middle of the night. So, you know,
I think the middle of the night is because it's quiet and we can hear more. And I'm
yeah.
thinking maybe that's why most of the people, plus the creep factor.
Oh,
but for
yeah.
me, it would be because things are a lot more quieter, and hopefully you can pick up more things. You don't have all the traffic outside that you can hear, and
Yeah. Yeah. Usually that is the case, which is good. But I don't know. Like, I mean, when they're going through an abandoned building, for example, and they're going in pitch black, it's not the safest thing to do, not the wisest. They could come across a floor like, huh, I could have a
on the
massive
floor or
hole.
something. Yep.
Yeah. Like I know
No.
there's one place up here, oh, I would love to be able to get into investigate, and that's the old sanitarium. But unfortunately, the owner will not allow anyone to go in there because when it was closed finally in, I believe it was 94, uh, when it was closed, they forgot to turn off the water. And so consequently, in the wintertime, the water pipes burst and
Oh.
indoor skating rink all over the place.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, if you see pictures of it now, there's moss growing inside on the floor, on the walls, on the ceilings.
Hmm.
It's such a shame because that building had really been refurbished to be quite nice.
Hmm.
To let
No,
it go.
that's one place that I draw the limit. I will not do sanitariums.
Really? What,
I
like,
pick up on energies, and to me, sanitariums is just wild emotions from people that are not quite there. You know what I mean? It's
mhm.
just wild emotions that I'm afraid that I'm going to be picking up on, and I really, really don't want to. I don't know if I'd be able to shield myself enough from that.
I see. Yeah. Well, latterly it was used as a home for developmentally challenged people
Mhm.
after it had been a tuberculosis sanatorium. But however, anyway, I see our time's running on there, my dear, and I wanted to thank you again very, very much for coming on the show tonight. We must do
Thank
this
you
again.
so very much.
All
Yeah,
right.
and again, said before, I'm greatly honored that you asked me to help you launch the debut of your channel.
Well,
It was a
thank
lot
you.
of fun.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to have Seth Kinsey on soon, and also I'm hoping to have Dino on. Would certainly love to have you on again, and also what the other gentleman's name, Charles Anthony. He has the Paranormal Radio.
Yes,
Yes, I would love to have him on too if he wants to.
Chuck.
Chucky, yeah,
Chucky. It's a great show too. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, to those who've been watching, thank you very, very much, and I do hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have any questions or any ideas on how we could improve it, please let us know. Please don't be too critical of us because this is our very first program, and we may have some bugs to iron out yet. So
Please be kind.
yeah, be kind, rewind, or whatever you want to call it. So thanks again, Kat. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much, and you have a good evening, good weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks a lot. Take Take care, everybody. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, on the live broadcast. Bye-bye.